Hello and welcome to Module 4, the first lesson of this module. And we're going to be talking about our basic bodice pattern. Okay, let me just do a brief introduction. This is our free beginner sewing course, and I'm so glad that you made it up to this point. If this is the first video that you are coming across, you are welcome. My name is Mercy Adibayo. Kindly like this video, leave a comment if this is the first time that you are coming across this video, and subscribe so that you will see more subsequent videos like this. We try as much as possible to upload 3 times in a week so that you can go on your journey. I go with you on your journey. And concerning, we have a community of beginners like myself. It is not free. I will emphasize that any day, anytime. These courses are free on YouTube, but the community, it is not free. And we have our own personalized projects in that community where we get together a few times in a month. We talk. It is subscription based. You pay per month. So if you would like to join that community, it's open once a month, and you have to be on the lookout for my posts, and you have to just be on the lookout. So that now let's get right into this lesson. What are the measurements that we need? I have taken a measurement class. So if this is the first video you're coming across, so yeah, backtrack to module 2, where I taught us how to take full body measurements. Yes, I taught us. I know that the video quality is quite poor. We're going to be working on maybe creating a new one, but for now that one works perfectly. I listed every detail in that video, so I'm not going to be doing too much reiteration in this video. We're just going to be getting right to the drafting table. And so let's start. Let's get right into it. First of all, you need your shoulder width from one ball point of your shoulder to the other ball point of your shoulder. You're going to measure from the back. You see, I'm not with my tape because I don't plan to do too much. Next up, we have to our shoulder to our bust. That is our shoulder to our nipple point, our shoulder to our under bust, shoulder to right under your bust here. Then our shoulder to our natural waist. We learned how to take our natural waist in that video, so we are going to measure that. Now, shoulder to our natural waist, we need to measure for the front and also measure at the back. I taught us that. Now, from our natural waist to our hip, normally our busy bodies pattern is usually stops at our natural waist, but for the sake of this video, we're going to be extending it to our hip, fullest part of our hip. Okay, you can even extend it to your high hip, just depends on you, right? The next one is our bust circumference. We've entered our circumference measurement round about your body, and up next is our natural waist circumference. Up next is our full hip circumference. Okay, after that is our armhole curve. So you measure your armhole curve roundabout. It varies per person. Last but not the least is our apex measurements. What is our apex measurement? It's our end to end, your nipple point to your nipple point, and we use that nipple point to get our dart measurement. Let's get right to the drafting table. See you.
Welcome to this basic bodice tutorial. We've come from the drawing board, I've come from the board, and here what you just need is, this should be your pencil. As I've reminded you again and again, don't use a marker to draft. This should be your measuring tape. You should have your measuring rulers also. This is my own measuring rulers that I'm going to be using, including the French curves. So we're going to be having our pattern paper behind the scenes. So before we start anything, we have looked at this on the drawing board, but let's look at this again. These are the important parts of the body that you should take note of. I've given us an extensive measurement guide. I've shown you even practicalized on my own body, but these are the points that you should need. So you need to have your own. I'm just going to be writing out what my own looks like. Mine is 16. This is not a general measure. I always reiterate that it's not a general body measurement. So the bust circumference, my bust circumference is 34. My waist circumference is 27. My hip circumference for this tutorial, I'm going to be using 41. My shoulder to bust is a vertical measurement. It's not circumference. Shoulder to bust, to measure from the highest part of your shoulder and to the fullest part of your bust. For mine is 10 inches, and then the apex is from your nipple to your nipple point. So that's an horizontal measurement. So your nipple to your nipple point, 8 inches. Shoulder to my waist is, for me, I usually use 17 inches. In some cases, I use 18 inches, depending on what I want to achieve with that outfit. Waist to hip is, for me, this one we call it the hip line. So from your natural waist to your hip, for me, is 9 inches. For my armhole is 8 inches. For my neck, that is the neck depth plus the neck width. My neck is 15 inches. I'm going to show you how you'll be calculating this. Now, for shoulder to under bust, mine is 13.5. Although this one, you need it only for intermediate blocks, not for this basic block. So let's get right into the tutorial. First, you start by measuring ½ inch. Measure ½ inch from the top of your paper like this, and then you mark it out. All right, so you mark that out. Now this point is going to be your starting point, and the length of this blouse, so we're going to just be using our hip line as the end of our blouse. So for me, from shoulder to 17, from shoulder to natural waist is 17 for me, plus 9 inches. That is what? 17 plus 9 inches. So that's 26. So we're going to be adding 1 extra inch for allowance. You You can't see that here in this full. And this paper is even short. This paper is total of 24 inches, but yes, we're going to be doing that. And also the length of your blouse totally depends on what you want to achieve again. So you can take your blouse to go as low as your hip line, or you can even allow it to be on your high hip. Remember what we talked about, high hip? That's your pelvic bone. So let's use our pelvic bone. Our pelvic bone is right here. You can see where my hand is. Our pelvic bone is right here. So that is about 5 inches, or let's use 4 inches above the hip line. So we're going to now minus 4 from 26, and it's going to become 22. So that works for this paper. We're going to be adding 1 extra inch allowance. So now take note that this part of the paper, we're going to consider it as the center of our outfit, as a center, and it's going to be cut on fold. What does it mean to cut something on fold? It means when you, let's use this for example, when you fold something, that's basically it. It's going to be cut on fold. Now this is our front pattern. So when you cut the front pattern on fold, it means that you cut it in 2 places, okay? And then you cut the back. The back is going to be cut in 2 separate pieces, while the front is going to be cut on fold. So when you open it, it gives you one full front. So now this means that the front pattern now, and we have the back pattern as 2 halves, which gives us 1 whole. When you divide the front pattern into 2, that gives you another half, right? So that means dividing the front pattern into 2, you've divided the whole outfit into 4. Does that make sense? So instead of doing 1/2 as your measurements, for most of your measurements, I'll be telling you the ones that you're going to be dividing into 4. For example, all the ones that goes around your body, all the ones that you measure around your body, you divide it by 4. So you divide this by 4, you divide your waist circumference by 4, you divide your hip circumference by 4. Now your vertical measurements, these ones that stay on your body, you do not divide them by anything because they are vertical measurements which is directly on your body. Now your shoulder, because your shoulder does not have front, does not have back, right? Your shoulder is on top, basically. So this one will be divided into 2. Because we have we are going to be joining front shoulder to back shoulder, basically. Now the other things, our armhole will not be divided by anything, because instead this armhole, I measured from the front armhole right to the midpoint of my armhole. But if I measured round my full armhole, it would have given me 16. So in this case, I would have divided it by 2, which will give me 8. You understand this? Now for the neckline, when we're drafting that, I'll show you shoulder to underbust. That's the vertical measurement. So let's start with our vertical measurements. Now we're going to mark this point SH because it's our shoulder. Okay, and the first vertical measurement that we're going to be concentrating on is your bust line. What's your bust line? We measured our shoulder to under bust. What's your shoulder to under bust? Mine is 10 inches. So what is yours? And then the next one we're going to measure, still holding that point, we're going to be measuring shoulder to under bust, although it's not important at all in a basic bodice pattern. But for when we're going to be furthering and be drafting the princess darts, the princess bustiers, and the other bustiers, we're going to be needing this under bust. Now, my own natural waistline I'm going to be using here is 17 inches. So I'm going to mark these on a straight line here. I'm going to mark again, I rule a straight line that we can get an accurate measurement. Okay. So this point we call it the BL bust line. This point we call it the UB under bust, right? And this point we call it the waistline or half length in some cases. And then the under of the blouse we call it the full blouse length, BL blouse length, anything. So now we are going to be marking from the midpoint. Let all your measurements start from the midpoint, okay? All your measurements, the beginning of your tape measurements will start from the midpoint. What's our shoulder? My shoulder is 16, and I'm going to be dividing it by 2. Remember I said we divide it by 2, which is 8 inches. So now for the front, I usually use 1.5 inch shoulder slope because it's different from the back. So the front is 1.5 inch for shoulder slope. Remember I told us in our measurement class that the shoulder slope, the shoulder is not straight, the shoulder is sloped. So the edge of the shoulder. So imagine this is the shoulder divided by 2. This is the edge of the shoulder. The edge of the shoulder is more sloped than the top of the shoulder. So for the front, we're going to be using 1.5, and for the back, we're going to be using 1 inch. For the standard neck hole measurement, we're going to be using 3 inches wideness. This is what we call wideness, and 3 inches deepness, depth. So to get a perfect curve, we're going to be using a round neck, right? It's a round neck. To get a perfect curve, you mark 3 inches into a square, and you get it this way. There's a way to derive your own perfect neck hole, but I don't want to confuse you here. So easily just make use of this. And for those of us that don't have our French curves and all of that, all you just need to do is to mark 1 inch upwards and connect the line this way. So this is your round neck, the neckline. Okay. So now from this point, you're going to connect to that 1.5 inches. Okay. So let's connect to that 1.5 inches. So now our armhole measurement, what did we say it was? Is 8 inches. You're now going to mark that 8 inches downwards. Okay. So now at this 8 inches, you're going to mark 8 inches the same shoulder 8 inch, you're going to mark it here also. So here, then you're going to rule a straight line and make sure that you connect it. So that now the next thing that you're going to do after that, you're going to rule a straight line here, so you connect it. Next thing you do after that is you're going to be creating your armhole curve. Your armhole is not straight, your armhole is curved. And how you do that is that you get your bust circumference. Remember, we say we'll be dividing our bust circumference by 4 inches. And when I divide mine by 4, I have mine is 34, and I divide it by 4 is 8.5. So I'll mark that 8.5 here. I'll mark that 8.5 here, and I'm going to add an extra 1 inch allowance. So, and I'm going to add an extra 1.5 inch allowance, not 1 inch. So we add 1 inch allowance by 1 inch. Okay, you're going to look for the middle point of this armhole. See, of these 8 inches. And you're going to mark. You're going to look for the middle point of these 8 inches. You're going to mark it here, 4 inches, and see that I'm taking it inside the outfit. You're going to come in by ½ inch. You're going to connect points to this point to this point. You following this curve. So I want to use my free hand. Normally I would have used my curve rule. I want to use my free hand so that you see how it's being done. Okay. So this is it. So this is the armhole. So this is the armhole curve that we have just created. All right. So this is it for the front, and then we're going to go ahead and mark the darts. How do you get the darts? Remember the apex measurements we've always been talking about. The apex measurement is your nipple to nipple point, and you divide it by 2 because this is we cut unfold. Okay, we're going to divide it by 2, and it will be 4 inches. And you're going to mark that 4 inches on your waistline. Your waistline is the most important point. Don't mind that I started from here. Your waistline is the most important point, and on your bust line. But you're going to come from your bust line. You're going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, because we don't want it to be pointy and all of that. So you're going to come down by 1 inch, and then you're going to extend this to your. You're going to extend this to your hip line. You're going to come down by 5 inches, depending on how deep you want your dart to go. So I'm going to connect this with a straight line. Connect this from point A to point B to point C, and then on the waist, because the waist is the narrowest part of the body, which we want to grab. If not, it'll just be looking full and weird. So for my own bust size, anybody that has between bust size 32 to 36, you're going to be using 1 inch allowance. That's ½ inch on this side of the line and ½ inch on this side of the line. But for anybody that has 36 upwards, you're going to be taking 1.5 inch. That means 0.5 inch. You see 0.5 inches here and 0.5 inch, so it comes up to 1.5 inch. But for my bust size, I'm going to be using just 1 inch allowance to achieve this, because 1 inch will allow it to sit properly. So you see the way I'm covering mine. You're also going to rule your dart like that. The rhymes. We have already gotten our bust with the allowance. The next thing on the waistline, you're also going to get the natural waist circumference and divide it by 4. Mine is 27, and 27 is here right before 7. 27 divided by 4 is 6.75, and I'll mark it here, and I'm going to add 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So this is 1 and this is 1.5. So this is 1.5, and the hip for this is 41. So this is 40, right? 10 is 40, and 10.25 is 41. So plus I'm going to be adding just 1 inch sewing allowance, will be coming 11.25. 11.25. So I'm going to just connect this line to this line, this line to the hip line to this line. Okay, to the bust line. So you see how I'm connecting it, but we don't even want this waist to be sharp. I mean, your waist is not sharp, so we're going to make sure we curve it out, smooth it out, smooth it, smooth it, smooth it. Okay, so make it smooth as much as possible. Now we've done this. Next thing I want us to do is, before we finish up, this is totally optional, but it gives it a much better look, right? So you're going to come up. I'm going to come up by 1.5 inch, 1 inch, depending on your size, depending on the length of your blouse, and you're going to curve it. So this gives a really good curve, and it allows for, and to remove. You can try it with this one day. It's actually not that bad. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing a bust dart. So the way you remove bust dart is, so I just noticed an error here, and I don't want to start from the top. So this is our chest line. This is the line that we ruled from point 8. Okay, this is our CL, and this is where we're going to be taking this curve from. Maybe the people that don't watch the video to the end now will not know. Oh, please be watching the video to the end. I'm going to reiterate it at the point of the video, at the beginning of the video. So this goes to this line. Okay, thank God I noticed it. All right. So what I want us to do now is remember that we took the measurement of your remember that we took the measurement of your shoulder to your waist. Now this measurement is shoulder to your waist for the front. Remember we took the measurement of shoulder to your waist at the back. And I told you that the why your shoulder to waist at the back is shorter in quotes is because there's no bust there. Okay. So you're going to take the measurement of your waist from you're going to take the measurement of your shoulder to waist for the back. You've already gotten the one for the front, which is 17 in my case, and then you're going to get the one for the back. In my own, it is 16, and that 16 now we're going to have to even it out from the front and from the back. I'm not going to be cutting this out just yet. So now on this bust line, we're going to be removing our a bust dart, a simple bust dart. So you're going to be connecting it to this 4 inches. You're going to connect your bust dart to this 4 inch. And you're going to instead of so that you don't want any pointiness, you're going to come outwards by 1 inch. I'm going to come outwards by 1 inch so that I can regulate the front and the back pattern to be the same. Okay, so this dart now we're going to be removing it out. I'm going to be removing out this bust dart, and I'm going to show you how we will do it. But first, let's draft the back pattern to the front, and then we're going to be shifting it a little. Okay, and then we're going to be coming to create the new back. See these lines that we have here? We're just going to extend them. We're just going to extend them a little, just because it looked like it wanted to rain. These people did not give us lights this morning. We are going to extend these lines to the back pattern. Okay, so this is the front, and then we're going to be shifting it a little. Okay, and then we're going to be coming to create the new back. See these lines that we have here? We're just going to extend them. We're just going to extend them a little, just because it looked like it wanted to rain. These people did not give us lights this morning. We are going to extend these lines to create the black lines. And it would be good if you were drafting this on a flat table so that you can see. But I'm still going to be comparing. I'm showing us at intervals. All right. So first off, I want you to draw a straight line. I want you to take the allowance of the hip from your front pattern and use it to regulate where you draw your straight line. The allowance for the hip for my front pattern is 11 inches. Let me draw my straight line here first from this point, and let's mark a straight roll as much as possible, and life is straight. What is it now? So now from that point, I'm going to be marking. We said it's 11. We're going to be marking. I'm going to be marking 13. Give allowance. I'm going to be marking 13 on both sides. All right. Draw your ruler. Oh. All right. So now the first things first that you're going to do is to come inside here by 1 inch. Come inside here by 1 inch. It's totally optional, but the least that you should come in by is half inch. But as a beginner, the least you should be coming in is 1 inch. This is what we call your zipper allowance. The allowance where you used to join your zipper. It can be at the back, it can be at the front, depending on the kind of outfit that you're creating. But for a standard outfit, your zipper allowance is at the back. Okay? So that's your zipper allowance. And then the next thing that we'll do, since this is your zipper allowance, that means this automatically will be the center of your back outfit. Because where is your zip? Your zip is at the center. Okay? Move this a little. So now all you're just going to do is, let's not forget this half-inch line that we created above here. Don't forget it, okay? What you're just going to do now is you're not going to start from this point because this zipper is going to be inside the clothes, okay? This zipper allowance will be inside the clothes. So you're going to be starting from this point that will still be outside of the clothes, and you're going to mark your shoulder measurement again divided by 2. That is 8 inches. Now, I told you that the back slope and the front slope is not going to be the same in this pattern. For the front slope, we used what? 1.5, and now for the back we're going to be using 1 inch. So from that 1 inch now we're going to measure 8 inches downwards, and then we're going to mark. So let's use the whole measurement. 9 inch. We're going to measure 9 inch, right? Why are we using 9 inch? Because we're starting from the shoulder. And I'm going to connect this point because I want to connect a straight line. And I'm going to connect this point. You see that it's slightly different on this point. You see that the armhole is lower for the front. But when we create the bust dart, you see that it's going to align. When we do the bust dart, it's going to align perfectly. Now, for this one, connect this line, connect your shoulder measurement, again, 8 inches horizontally on your chest line for the back. And you're going to mark. You're going to mark this. So just the way you did at the front, you're going to get your bust measurement, your bust circumference. See, mine is 34 plus 1.5 inch allowance. And then you're going to mark 1 inch upward from this 90-degree curve. And you're just going to connect it. So this one, you connect it as a straight line. So your arm, your so your neck wideness must be the same as your neck wideness for the back must be the same as your neck wideness for the front. If not, it's not going to tally and you're going to have shortage of armhole. So remember that our neck wideness for the back for the front was 3 inches. And you typically our neck wideness for the back used to be 1 inch. Our neck deepness for the back used to be 1 inch. So we can make our neck wideness so we can make our neck deepness any length that we want. We can make it 7 inches, we can make it 8 inches, and it can curve like this. But the wideness must tally with the front. Okay. So now we're going to curve our shoulder slope like this downwards. We're going to curve our shoulder slope like this downwards. And one thing I want to remind us is that while we are using this waistline, this is not the waistline for the back. So we're going to be creating our back waistline. Remember, this is front waistline, FWL. This is our under bust. This is our chest line. This is our bust line. Okay. Now we're going to be creating from this shoulder point. We're going to be creating our back waistline, which I told us that is what 16. Told us that is 16. So we're going to mark those points and create our new waistline. Remember that the difference between your back waistline and your front waistline does not have to be 1 inch. It can be 1.5. It can be 2 inches, depending on your body. Okay. So let me write this one in full. Back waistline. So every measurement that you're going to be taking would be on this back waistline. We've already measured our bust circumference for the back. And now, before we take our other measurements, we're going to be taking our dart. And we're going to be eliminating zipper bulge. So now on this back waistline, we're going to be creating a dart all the way to your apex point. Remember your apex point. So you're going to go half inch. You're going to go half inch here, half inch here. Remember your zipper allowance. And you're just going to connect it. You're going to connect it like this. So you're going to be reducing this. You're going to be reducing this point, and I'll show you guys how we're going to do that. And as you are doing that, you're going to be coming in. You're going to be coming inwards also by what? So you're going to be coming inwards also by half inch. So meaning that your zipper allowance now is going to change a little. Zipper allowance is going to change a little. You're going to connect it like this. This is what your zipper allowance is going to now look like. You're going to connect it to the top. So all we are trying to do here is to eliminate anything like zipper bulge. I'm going to show you guys how to remove it. So we're not doing any bust dart. All we're just going to do now is that we're going to create on this waist, starting from the bust line, we're going to be creating our darts. Remember that we're going to be using our apex point, 4 inches, 4 inches, and then you're going to come down from the waistline by 5, just like we did at the front. Okay, mark 4 inches there too. All right. So what you're going to do, connect those points, and you're going to first connect those points A, B, and C. Next up, you're going to make sure you mark 1 inch on both sides. Don't be confused. Mark 1 inch. This is our normal dart. You need to mark 1 inch on both sides. All right. You need to mark 1 inch here, 1 inch here. Okay, so this is our normal dart. And just the way we removed. So first, we're now going to so we're going to be adding back our half inch here that we took out. Okay, and you're going to connect it again. Oh, confuse myself. So from this waistline, right? From this waistline, from this zipper allowance. Remember, you're not going from the inside. So from this point, you are going to be you're going to be marking out your waist circumference measurement. My waist circumference is 6.75 plus 1.5-inch allowance. My hip circumference is 41. This is 41 plus 1.5-inch allowance. So you are going to connect the lines like you did for the front. Okay? Connect the lines like you did at the front. And then this one, you're not going to be removing any bust start because there's no bust there to remove. Finally, under this point, just like you did for the front, you're going to come upwards by 1.5 inch and then you're going to connect it to the front. All right? You're going to connect it to the front. So this is the front pattern and this is the back pattern. So let's cut it out first. Now, before we cut it out, we have to make sure that we account for the excess material here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's cut out the neck first. This one, we are good to go in cutting it out. With your extra allowance, extra tiny allowance. So I'm still cutting it out. And remember that this is our chest line. We're not coming down. Okay? Very good. So now, before we cut out this place, I want you to, let's extend this here. This is not our allowance, but I want us to extend this here so I can show us something. Let's cut it out. All right. So I want to show you that this point now is going to be a bust dart, and we are going to what you're going to do is you're going to close it up so that it can align with the back. You're going to close it up, and it's not something you're closing up here. You're going to be closing it up. So what you just need to do is to make sure that that point stays like that, and you're going to create your new allowance so it does not get short. So you see that the line does not tally. You're going to create your new allowance just like this. Slim. Your own might be bigger. So let me show you what difference it makes. You see that? So your own now you cut it like this. You're going to cut it like this. All right. So it's not going to be cut straight. You need to remember your side slope. So this dart now, you're going to notch this dart point. So this dart now, you're going to be not notching this dart seed. Look at it, it comes straight. So you're going to have to acknowledge this cutting when you are this. You have to acknowledge this when you are cutting it on your fabric. This is the front that we've created. Now let's go to the back. The back is it's not complicated, okay? Now let's go to the back. Let's start from the neck. So now you're going to extend into your zipper allowance. Your zipper allowance is a part of your this thing. Part of your pattern, okay? So this, let's remove the extra paper. Let's cut this out first. Okay. So we can cut it out normal, normal, normal. Let's just fast forward this place. Any place I'm not talking reasonable talk. Will that be cut out or fast forward? So here, this is what you're going to do here. Risky, right? But yeah, you're going to slash all the way. Let's slash all the way, and then you're going to push it. All right. You're going to slash all the way, and you're going to push it back like this. So you're going to take your tape, and you're going to sellotape it back up. So we have just attempted to eliminate zipper bulge. Okay. And then for this, we are going to, including our allowance, we're going to eliminate zipper bulge. Okay. So this is your front So this is your front. Let's label that. And remember, it's going to cut on fold, right? And this is your back. It's going to be cut as two pieces. Okay? So let's look at them. You see that they eventually align. You see that it eventually aligns. And you see that when you shorten this one like this, when you take out this dart, you see that the waist for the front, let me put it on top of each other like this. When you shorten this dart, you see. So we need to confirm that. Okay. So as we have confirmed it now is good. Bam, we need to eliminate that. I know that it's because I followed the normal allowance. I was supposed to draft a new one. So yes, that's why we always confirm to see if you've made any errors. We always confirm. So the back can be longer than the front in this case, which is perfectly fine. All right. So, so the reason why I'm emphasizing this, let's confirm again. Yeah. So that was an error. I know where the error came from. Right. When I shifted the back pattern, the back half waist, half length up, I'm supposed to have shifted the pattern itself upwards. All right. So this is what you're going to be cutting. This is what you're going to be using as basic block for other patterns. This is going to be your basic block. See you guys in the next video.
If you like this video so far, now if you've forgotten already, like, comment, share a comment. If there's something that is not clear, if there's something that is not clear to you, you can ask a question, you can do a follow-up now, and then you can, all I will advise you is that watch the video once, get a little bit of understanding, and then watch the video again. Now, the second time that you're watching it, you should be drafting. You should be with your pattern paper and your pencil, your ruler, your tape, drafting your own measurements. That is how we grow, by practicing. See you guys in the next lesson.